Hey everybody! So this video is going to be a little bit less structured and formal than my normal videos. I'm not going to really have like a super quirky intro like I normally do because this is a tag video. I was tagged in the I Love My Writing tag here for YouTube, and that was started by C.S. Wells, which I watched her original video, and I think this tag is amazing. I think it's wonderful. I think it's cute. I think it's very positive and uplifting, and I love that. And for those of you who watch my videos, you'll notice that my camera has a lot of trouble focusing, and it's because I put my hands in front of my dark colored shirt and it like flips out about the color change. Anyway, so moving on. See. All right, so I'm going to answer these questions. There's 5 of them. They are: what part of your creative writing process do you love the most? Strongest area of your writing? What is one story, character, story, chapter, scene, or line from your writing that you are most proud of? If you've ever been complimented in your writing, what did they say? And there was an alternate to that. It's if you've never been complimented, what do you think they'd say? I think is what it is. I didn't write that down, so I think that's what it is. If it's not, I'll link them below in the description so you can have like actual versions of the 5 different things so that they're correct. And then the last one is, what will your life be like when you reach all your writing dreams? So I'm going to answer these questions, and then I have one other author here on YouTube that I'm going to tag because most of the others that I already know have already been tagged. And I've enjoyed watching their videos. So like I said, this tag was started by C.S. Wells, and I was tagged in this video by, I'm going to butcher your name, and I am so sorry. I don't do this on purpose. By Irmiej, it's Irmiej Stories. Irmiej Stories. I'm sorry if I'm butchering that. Please let me know how to properly say your name because I would love to be able to say it appropriately if I'm not, and I'm like 98% positive I'm not. So let me know how to say your name properly because I would love to. So I was tagged in this tag by her, and so I'm really excited to do it, and I'm sorry it took me a little bit of time to get to it. It's been a little bit crazy here. I have foster kids, for those of you who don't know, and so it's just been kind of crazy with that. So anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get into answering these questions, and then I'm going to tag my one writer friend that is left, and hopefully she will put one together for you as well. So let's dive into this. The first one is, what part of your creative process do you love most? This question was very easy for me to answer because it is the part that I spend my most time in when I am working on a work. There's trucks driving around outside my house. So my favorite part of my creative writing process is that kind of non-concrete part where you have characters developed for the most part, like in your head, and you've got a plot developed for the most part in your head, and you start thinking about scenes, and you start having those scenes where these characters interact that are just so perfect, and they're still in your head. Everything is still in your head, and you daydream about it. That's my favorite part, the part where I just could spend hours just thinking about my characters and thinking about the plot and daydreaming about it and imagining what it could be. And I know that that's all very corporeal and very non-concrete, but that's my favorite part of the writing process, is that brainstorming, that coming up with. And as I've stated before, I love characters. I love character building. I'm a very people-oriented person in real life, and so naturally in my writing process, I'm very character-driven. So that's my favorite part of my creative writing process. So the strongest area of your writing. This one actually kind of goes hand in hand with one of the other parts later that I will answer, and that is my dialogue. I've actually been told in the past by several of my creative writing professors that my dialogue is very naturally strong and that it flows very well, and I've always felt like I had a good knack for dialogue, and so I still feel that way, and I feel like my dialogue tends to come out fairly strong, whereas my like setting and that kind of stuff tends to really kind of fall flat. And I've gotten comments on that before, this scene is great, but I don't know where it's happening at. And so, you know, you have your strengths and your weaknesses. So dialogue is definitely a strength that I would say that I have. And then the third one is, what is one story, chapter, scene, or line from your writing that you are most proud of? And this one was kind of hard for me because I love all of my stuff. Like, I know that that sounds silly, and even the stuff that I go back and I read and I'm like, oh, this is terrible, this is bad, like, I still love it because there's still a part of me in it, and I still enjoyed creating it in that moment. But the story that is probably my, like, opus, my big thing that I'm hoping to one day have published and turned into a series, actually, is, right now it has the working title Ohio, which for a lot of you who live in America, you tend to think of the state, but it's not. It's Ohio, like hello in Japan, good morning in Japan, not hello. Ohio is good morning in Japan. And that's because it's the name of the cafe that the characters work at. And this story is actually my pet story because it started out based on people I knew. All of the characters were based on people that I knew. And so it's widely expanded since then, and the characters aren't so much like that anymore. But I still see the people that I know and I care about when I write and when I develop plots for that and when I'm working on that. And I love that story that I have yet to finish writing. And I love the characters and I love the interactions, and it's just one of my favorites. To put it in a nutshell for other people who have no idea what I'm talking about with this work, it's basically, if you were to take mythical and folklore beings from miscellaneous cultures around the world and kind of stuck them all together because they don't have anywhere else to go, so they kind of create a little family together. That's what this is about. And there's like a cafe at the center where they all work, and you have like 3 or 4 like really primary characters, but then there's a bunch of like other characters, and they kind of create relationships, and there is like the big like culminating plot. But even as much as I love that, that's not the part that I love the most. I just love the characters, and I love how they interact with one another and what they mean to one another. So that's my story that I love the most, that I am working on, and that I will hopefully one day finish. I don't know, we'll see when I get there. So let's move on. The next one is, if you've ever been complimented in your writing, what did they say? I actually have 2 for this that were 2 big compliments, and the first one I actually already touched on was, I have a creative writing professor when I was getting my degree who I really enjoyed taking classes from. He was very knowledgeable, very talented, very good at what he taught and what he did. And he complimented me actually multiple times on my natural knack for dialogue. And I took that as a deep compliment, because like I've said before, I'm very character oriented, and to me that means that I know my characters. If I'm really good at dialogue and the dialogue flows naturally, then that means that I really know my characters, and I know who they are, and I know what they would say and do in situations. And so that was a compliment that I took very, very deeply, and that I love. And then the other one was actually from a friend of mine who was reading one of my fan fictions, and this was years ago, and she probably doesn't even realize that I'm going to talk about this. I don't even think she watches these. But she told me one time when she was reading a fan fiction, she said, I love it. I forget that I'm reading something that was written by one of my friends. So to me, that was important, because she felt like she was reading something that was professionally written. And she felt like she was really pulled into the story and pulled into the atmosphere and pulled into the universe in a way that you do when you read a published novel. And so that really meant something to me, in that she forgot that it was written by me, because she thought she was just reading something that she would just go to a store and buy. And so that was the compliment, and I really liked that. So, okay, last one. So what will your life be like when you reach all of your writing dreams? I tell people all the time when they ask, like, well, what would you do if you could do anything? I would be a novelist. If I could do anything with my time, and I could be anything, have a career in anything, I would write creative novels. I would write fiction. And it would be just amazing, because to me, part of that is also reading. And if I could sit at home and read all day, you had better believe I would be the happiest gal in the world. So if all of my writing dreams were to come true, I have these like 3 book series that I have, like, are my big. You have Ohio, the one I already talked about. You have my Gibborum series, which is a series that kind of centers around and I won't get into that. I have a Gaborum series, a series called my Gaborum series. And then I have my Among the Sands series, which I've talked about in the past, and that is my my NaNoWriMo project from 2017. And those series would all be written, they would be published, and they would have done at least moderately well enough that I can stay at home and write. I say stay at home because I have an office job now, that I can write fiction for a living, and that's what I do, and that's what I get paid to do, and that I make enough money that I can do it. It doesn't have to be a lot of money. It doesn't have to be just enough that I can do that full time. That would be my writing dreams, is just to be able to sit at home and create fiction all day, every day, like a nerd, because that's what I am. So those are my answers to the I Love My Writing tag, and I hope that you enjoyed them. I enjoyed watching the videos that I watched for the other people who have done them, and I found a couple of new friends along the way, and that was super awesome. And I just love this tag. I think it's a great tag. I think it's uplifting. I think it's positive, and I think it really makes you look at your own writing in a very positive way, which is hard to do sometimes because we oftentimes are our own worst critics. So CS Wells, thank you for creating this tag. I've enjoyed it, and I have enjoyed watching other people enjoy it. So again, thank you to the person who tagged me in this. Again, I'm sorry I can't say your name properly. And then the one person I would like to tag in this is, I believe on YouTube, she is NicoleAtRandom. I'll tag her somewhere, somehow. I believe it's NicoleAtRandom here on YouTube. I'll find her and I'll tag her appropriate name. It's Nicole something. Anyway, thank you for tagging me in this video, and I hope you all enjoyed this, and I will see you all out there. Bye.